Good morning, campers. Long Wanderer here. Sorry it's been a while. Been really busy. Doing a lot of things. Oh, it's hot that. Okay, so I've got a new knife to show you. Yes, I know you're probably getting bored seeing knives all the time, but there will be some more upcoming bushcraft things. Sounds like Bird of Prey's got something again. So, what have we got here? Just going to bring that up a bit. So what we've got here, we've got a special knife, a limited edition knife, which is this one. And this is the, if I pronounce this right, the Wojtek tracker survival knife. Okay, so this is not going to be an in-depth review because this is only my second time of bringing this knife out. I have had other knives I've been testing as well, so this is only the second time, but I just wanted to give you kind of a first impression. So I'm probably not going to be doing everything all in the same video. I'll probably do like separate ones because I don't want to be having a video that's about an hour long. So this is it. Beautiful shape. So we're thinking, yeah, once a tracker knife, always a tracker knife. They all look the same, but unfortunately, that's incorrect. They're not all the same. They don't all perform the same. I've not used many tracker knives. I've used a few over the years, but and every one that I've used has been different. Performs different. Handle is different. Steel's different. And it's nice shape, and it almost looks like a WSK, that kind of shape, but the WSK tracker has got the saw on the back. It comes about up here, so it's a lot longer. This one's a lot shorter, but that's because it's not intended to be a saw. It's more of a notcher than a saw. Okay, so this is the Wojtek. So for those who don't know, the Wojtek is a Slavic word, and it was given to a bear in World War II that actually carried ammunition to the front lines for the Polish forces, and so this knife is actually named after that bear, the Wojtek, if I pronounce it right. So yeah, beautiful shape. Okay, so a little bit into the specs. Unfortunately, I forgot my me with my ADHD brain, I've forgotten the piece of paper with the specs on it, so so you have to bear with me. I'll have to kind of just give you an idea. So yeah, handle's probably roughly about, it's a really long handle, probably about 5 inches, probably a little bit more. Blade is definitely over 6 inches long. It's 4.8 millimeters thick all the way through to the tang. This is a full flat tang through the handle because I've taken these handle scales off. It's not a skeletonized tang under here. It is a full solid tang underneath these handle scales, so that's good because I don't like skeletonized handles. But this is fine. It's solid tang all the way through. It's made from D2 steel. Now, my experience, not one of my favourite steels. I've had probably good and bad experience with D2. Some good, some bad. And the most important thing, D2 is actually a good steel, okay, but only if it's heat treated and tempered properly. Because if they don't get that right, it can be the difference between having a good knife and having a really bad one. If it's heat treated and tempered properly, D2 is incredibly strong, incredibly tough, easy to sharpen in the field, and can be a good slicer. But again, it's down to the maker who made this. Okay, if it's not heat treated right, D2, especially from my experience, have chipped really badly, I've broken D2 before, and also I've had knives in D2 that's nearly impossible to sharpen in the field, and I've had to sharpen them at home. So working with D2 steel and using D2 steel, it can be hit and miss. It all depends on that heat treat. And I'm pleased to say that this is actually performed well so far. Like I say, this is only the second time I've ever taken it out, so obviously it still looks brand new. So I've not like put it fully to the test, but I will be putting this through its paces for the next few weeks. I'm probably doing another video on it, but this is just kind of a first impressions of it. So yeah, D2 steel, it's I think the hardness is about 60, so yeah, so between 58 and 60, that's pretty good. That's what a survival knife needs to be, around that kind of ballpark. The guy who made this knife, he's a survival instructor in Pennsylvania, and I can't remember the guy's name because obviously I forgot the paper that I was supposed to bring in, so yeah, me bad, I know. And I think his surname's Lawley. I've got it on the YouTube channel. But yeah, in collaboration with like different companies, he managed to come up with this, and it was, I believe it was like a 3 years or possibly longer project, and in the end he couldn't find a manufacturer, so he went to the Germans, and produced this. And so the specs, obviously D2, 4.8 millimeters thick, 6 inches, probably around 5 inches on the handle. So I'll leave it close up, and I got this from Knives 4. Now unfortunately this is limited to 240 pieces, and I'm sorry to say, but I think it wasn't intentional, but I think I've actually bought the last one. I thought he was going to bring out some more, but it turns out that I don't think he actually is. So if you can get one of these on trade or anything like that, then so far I think it's half decent for a tracker. Obviously I'm not an expert on tracker knives. If you want to see different tracker knives being used, then go to Go Outdoors, yeah, Easy Going Outdoors. Go Outdoors in my brain because I was there yesterday. So Easy Going Outdoors with Alex, and he's your guy to talk to on tracker knives, etc. But yeah, obviously with all knives, because I'm a very picky person, there will be some pros and cons to this, which I will discuss at the end of either this video, or depends how long it is, or the next video. Okay, but right out of the box, I immediately didn't like the handle. The handle shape, I can understand why he made it like this. If you look into the story and the history of when he was designing this, which if you go on to, if you look him up on YouTube, and it's in fact, you might have it on here, yeah, Timber X Links Innovations, bit of a tongue twister. So Timber X Links Innovations, if you look that up on YouTube, it'll tell you the history of this knife and how he came up with the design. Handle scales, it's made out of G10. You've got like three bolts in there, which are really secure. Like I say, this is only its second outing, and I've not felt anything, no wiggle or anything to suggest that this is going to come off. Got a little saw back there. This was trial and error for him, like it is from a lot of other tracker makers. Originally he didn't put this design saw on, it was a different one, but he went for the kind of Swiss design, which is like double teeth, and it works quite well as a notcher, as I will demonstrate. Yeah, the ergonomics on the handle for me doesn't work. I'm still in two minds about changing it, I'm not too sure yet. But everything else is pretty good for a tracker. So like I say, I'm not the expert at trackers, but I do use them occasionally. It's just something different, you know. Sheath is your typical Kydex sheath. There's the emblem on it, the K4 is the name of the shop. Heavy duty nylon loop, bolted in there, your retention there, and so push it in, you can hear that click. No wiggle, nothing. Retains it really well, and I obviously push it, comes straight out. Sheath is amazing. I don't like Kydex sheaths, but this one I do actually quite like. It retains it really well. So as I do, I usually do when I'm just doing a quick review on quick first impressions, not really review. There will be a long-term review like I do with most of my knives. So have a quick sip of my tea. Okay, so I forgot to mention the grinds. Okay, so the grind here, so this first portion here, which is probably about maybe 2.5 inches cut in length. So this portion here is hollow grind. A hollow grind is really slicey. It's not a grind that would be my first choice on a heavy duty survival knife, but it works quite well. But mostly when you're talking heavy duty, it's mostly this part that's going to be used for chopping, etc. This part, he said it's a convex grind. No, it looks more like a saber grind. So this is hollow grind, this is definitely a saber grind. So you've got a saber grind here with a secondary bevel. Now convex grinds don't usually have a secondary bevel because you don't need it, because it's incredibly tough. But this is, yeah, so you've got a saber grind there with a secondary bevel and a hollow grind there. And this portion here is different to other tracker knives that I've used, is because it's more like a tooth. If you just see it there, so it's like a spike. So normally in tracker knives that I've used, this bit here would be classed as the quarter round, and it's usually more rounded instead of pointing out, but this actually points out more than any tracker knife I've used. So it's really sharp, this, so I have to be really careful. So yeah, that's a close-up of it. So let's do something simple. Like I say, it's only a first impression, so let's do something simple. Yes, the old-fashioned tent peg. Yes, I know I'm addicted to making tent pegs, but it's the only way to truly test a knife is I make a tent peg, a simple thing. But in my opinion, if it cannot do a simple thing, then what use is this to me in the field? When I'm camping out in the field and I've got, let's say I forgot my tent pegs left them at home, I have to make some, and this is the only knife I've got to make some tent pegs. Okay, so this is why when I test my knives, I always start off with making a tent peg from scratch. Okay, so and I always make it from hardwood like ash, oak, things like that, because it really tests this knife. So this is really solid ash. Okay, so see if I can bring that camera down a bit. Okay, let's have a look. Tell I ain't done a video for a while, can't you guys? Because I need to get back into the swing of things so you can see me on the knife. Okay, so knife, ash, got a few knots in there, nothing that this can't handle. So let's see how she does. It's slicing. I'll give you my impressions while I'm doing this. Up a little bit more. That's better. See, I never edit my videos, so that's why I'm always adjusting as I go along and talking. Obviously, I make mistakes, so I just can't be bothered to edit videos, and it's not like I know how to do it anyway. Okay, so yep. So choose which edge I want to point and choose which edge I want to knock in. So let's have a look. Choose that as the point. Both looks the same. We're going to do the notching first. Okay, so start with notching. Let's see how good she bites in. So push the knife in. So there we go. So bites in quite well for a hollow grind. Not as deep as a Scandi or a thinner blade, but. And then what we want to do is probably half a thumb width, thereabouts, and this basically tests the slice, the capabilities. So I'm going to go all the way up to here. You can see that. So because if you're like me, you're used to just normal knives, either with a curve or just a straight edge, to be able to use a tracker knife, you have got to keep going and going and going. You've got to keep taking it out in the field, and I always take two knives into the field, one like this that I need to get used to, and another knife that I've already used, maybe as a backup or something like that. It's the only way. Okay, so I can tell you straight off the bat that this slices really well, a lot better than the Tops Tom Brown T1 tracker, which is a good knife and it's a tank of a knife. However, the grinds on the Tops tracker, absolutely terrible. And if you try and do this with a Tops tracker, you'd struggle. Okay, so remove the materials, nice and easy. Just get that bit off. Yeah, it's pretty good. And this is ash, hard. So if this was green wood or softer wood, then so I'll put the guy's name. Bit embarrassed, obviously me ADHD brain. I'm absolutely terrible at remembering things. I should have bought that piece of paper, but yeah, I like that. Yeah, this part of the blade, definitely a lot better than some of the other trackers I've used. This size, definitely better than the Tops at slicing. So I'm going to go a bit deeper. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about the camera angles. So yeah, pretty decent. Impressed with that. Okay, so this is the bit that we're going to hammer onto is the tent peg. So I'm just going to just quickly slice. I'm trying to do a video here, mate. Do you mind? Dear, so bad tempered that one. Alright. So I'm just going to go around this bit here so that when you hammer it in, it's not going to split. Again, so far it's very comfortable to use. There is one problem which I will show you, which I'll tell you in a bit, because we are going to 21 minutes. Okay, so there I go. Done the notch. It's only a quick one, so let's see if how good we can do this point. So to do this, we need to do kind of a power stroke. I'm going to do two different strokes. I'm going to do a forwards power stroke, and then I'm actually going to do one of my favourites, which is a chest lever, and I will see how comfortable this handle is when I'm doing that. So I'm going to use this to choke up. It's got like 2 fingers there, and then just choke up there. Try and get you. And it does that pretty well, but a bark on ash is quite durable as well. It's quite hard to get off. So that's the bark pretty much off. That's the bark off, nice and easy. Don't think I've actually tested the spine yet. Let's see how sharp this spine is. Yeah, it is sharp. Could do with being a bit sharper though, in my opinion, but it is sharp. Yeah, it's not bad actually. Yeah, it'll definitely strike a fair rod if you can do that. So back to the point. Do some forward strokes. And straight away, it's a good slicer. I'll give you that. But there is a problem. Now it's never going to replace a much thinner knife like a Puko or anything like that, but this is just an all-round survival knife that is good at a little bits of everything but master of none. That's his whole intents and purposes. Okay, so we'll carry on with doing this. Okay, so it's not so much the blade, it's the handle, which, like I said at the start of this video, as soon as I took the knife out of the box and held it in my hand, I knew straight away that I wasn't going to get on with the handle. I knew that, and I will explain in the next video after I've just done this. Okay, so got all nice and quickly So chest lever, it's one of my favourites, so if you can't do that then so I'm going to do this one first. So you can do the chest lever like this, like the underhand grip, do it like that, but with this knife you kind of can't, and again that comes down to the handle, which I'll explain to you in a minute. So I'll just do it this way instead, put my thumb on there. It has got like grooved as well, so you got like kind of thumb scallops there, which is perfect for things like this. So yeah, it will do it. There we go. There's your point. There's your kind of tent peg. Nice and quick. So yeah, pretty decent. So far that's the cutting. So we'll do different videos on different aspects. Get it rightly. Aspects of this. On different features of it. So the first feature was obviously the cutting part of the blade. Cuts really well. Well, it should do because it's a hollow grind. But there's a few problems which I will address at the last video of what I think of it, my first impressions, which I'll go into, but not yet. That's part one video anyway, so I'm going to cut it off there. So that's part one, is just basically addressing a little bit of background on this, and the first portion of the blade. So yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, finish my tea, and then go on to part two. Bye bye for now.